Meet the middle ground. Voters who see themselves as somewhere in the centre of Northern Ireland's traditional divides. And they're all here because they say they're at least up for a conversation about what would be in the best interests of Northern Ireland if there was to be a referendum on a united Ireland. These are the very valuable political persuadables. Is it fair to describe you all as constitutionally curious? Are you open to that debate about a border poll?
A lot of people may come from one community or the other, but a lot of that's changed. A lot more people are calling themselves Northern Irish rather than just Irish or British, or a mixture of Northern Irish and Northern Irish British. Do you know what I mean? Especially, I feel like I've seen it more in my generation as well, and it's not really being given the same spotlight that, do you know what I mean, hardline unionism or hardline republicanism is.
And in Northern Ireland, we tend to, you're either one thing or the other. There's a black and white, and in fact, there are many shades of grey.
I have no issue with the idea of having a border poll. I just don't want another Brexit situation where we vote on something that we don't actually know any truth about.
There's a lot of people nodding here.
So, we need to know exactly what we're voting for, what a new Ireland would look like, what the benefits of remaining with the UK might be. We need to know that information, and we need truth. We don't need political jingoism.
How do you all feel about the idea of a potential border poll? Are you open to it? Yeah? Anybody concerned at all?
I would be concerned if there was a border poll now. I don't think that would be a very good idea, especially with the way things are going generally in politics around the world. It's interesting that you were talking about the centre ground there, and whether the centre ground is ignored. I mean, that is played out across politics right across the world at the minute. The centre ground's shrinking.
Coming from England, the centre ground isn't...
Nobody booed there, which is great. It was a great start, so that's all good.
Whatever happened in the past, I wasn't there, it's not my fault. But coming from England, I'm not too sure that the sides here are political. They are religious. And in the centre ground, I think it's building because you have an influx of people like me from different backgrounds, different religions, and I'm hoping that the centre ground will expand, but we are important. And I think there's more of us than you think there is.
And actually, there's some people here from diverse youth as well. I know I was talking to you earlier on as well. How do you feel about Northern Ireland? Do you feel it is a diverse place?
To a large extent, I feel Northern Ireland is evolving. That is no more what it used to be. It's no more orange and green. It's now more people coming in, more influx of people from different places, and so making it more diverse.
There's still plenty of orange and green though, isn't there, Alistair?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. And that's the problem, that the Stormont is built now with DUP and Sinn Féin, and I wouldn't, as a Protestant, I'm not interested in voting for DUP, I'm not interested in voting for Sinn Féin, and therefore we have this diversity, and it's lovely to see so many people here and young people who are talking about diversity, and that would be one way to bring things forward. But there's a long way to go before we could have a united Ireland.
So when it comes to you centre ground people, I'm very aware that the one thing that you don't necessarily like is flags. But that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'll be interested to see how the reaction, because we do have the British flag and the Irish flag. This is not going to be scientific in any way, but it just is going to give us an idea of how you feel about some of these subjects and what you think would be better for the future of Northern Ireland, being a part of the UK or being a part of a united Ireland. On the question of the economy going forward, for the next 10 or 20 years, which do you think would be in Northern Ireland's better interests? Being part of United Ireland or remaining part of the UK? Going to ask you to move and go in which direction you think it should be. Many refuse to stray from the middle ground and stand behind a flag. But on the issue of the economy, the swing among this small, unscientific and randomly selected group was towards a united Ireland.
I know we've already mentioned Brexit many times. To me, that's the defining issue. being part of the European Union, being part of a united, connected, cooperating group of countries working together, or being part of this isolationist, ourselves alone kind of mentality. Another interesting phrase. That's the difference.
The reason I'm stood here is because, I mean, it's pretty plain that the Irish economy is doing better than the British economy
at
comparatively.
The moment. Yeah. So actually, when a border poll is held, is it really going to matter?
Yeah, well, this is the thing, is that is not indicative that if there was a border poll and everybody voted, yes, brilliant, we'll have a united Ireland, that doesn't determine the budget that we would receive or any sort of investment that would go northbound. There are problems down south as well. This is literally just because the Irish economy is doing better.
We are being governed by people in London, which is obviously, it's a different island to us. We're being governed by people that don't really care about us over here. I feel like if we were part of a whole Ireland...
Don't really care?
Obviously, yeah, they don't really care. And it's obviously, being a part of a whole Ireland, I think it would take a lot to get there. But I feel like it would represent us whole if we're all together.
Even though I come from London, that we're a bit of a nuisance, and they could do without us.
Welcome, sister.
Yeah.
I want to go over to the Union flag. There were 3 of you there. Somebody's left. Who's gone? Who's gone? Somebody's abandoned you, wasn't there?
Somebody abandoned us, yeah. Yes.
But actually, this really says something about how people feel about the UK economy.
At the minute, though, I look at Stormont, I think we run off a deficit of about $3 billion a year, which is obviously covered by Westminster. Would the Irish government be willing to cover the $3 billion? I also look at our current systems in regards to housing. I know healthcare will come up later on, but all those things are still have to be funded by the economy. And at the minute, those are all funded mostly by the UK government.
And how Northern Ireland's public services would be funded would be a big issue in any border poll. On the issue of healthcare, do you think it is better being a part of the UK or United Ireland for Northern Ireland going forward? Oh, this is already different. What a difference the NHS makes, because a lot of you people who were over with the economy thinking that it would be a united Ireland would better for the economy going forward. There's a huge number of you who have now come over to the Union flag and think that being part of the UK is better for the health service.
I've always felt Irish, but one of the only times I ever feel like proud to be from Northern Ireland as compared to anywhere else, is that I get free healthcare. I mean, I had a grandmother who was a nurse in the NHS, and that was always a real thing of pride. And I think if a united Ireland didn't have universal healthcare, that would definitely affect how open I think I would always vote for reunification, but I think it would remove any doubts.
Our current system in Northern Ireland is broken. Our waiting lists are horrendous. I have a daughter who's 3 years into a waiting list for a simple ear closure. I've been through it through maternity services. I've been through it watching my mum die of cancer. Things are far from perfect, but there's just something fundamental about a free health service and knowing that it's free at that point of care, so that whenever you're going to be able to go into casualty, it might take 5 or 6 hours before you get seen, but you're not going to be having to panic about how you're going to pay for it at the end of it. And I think there's just something intrinsic about that, having had that all of your life. To give that up would need a big push somewhere else down the line.
There are only a handful of people who actually think that the United Ireland would be a better way forward for Northern Ireland when it comes to the health service. Why do you think it would be different?
I think free at the point of need is a beautiful principle. And I'm from America, and horror stories of people going in with a broken wrist and coming out with tens of thousands of dollars worth of bills is untenable. You never hear horror stories, from France or Germany or Scandinavia, and they don't have free at the point of the need. They've got mixed models, and I don't see why we couldn't make a mixed model work. There's something structurally unsound with the NHS. It's not working. It's broken. A time for disruption is maybe a time of disruption is healthy and good.
And these are the kind of questions that people would have to ask if there was to be a referendum. Does it make a difference to you for education? Do you think education would be better in the United Kingdom or better in the United Ireland in the years going forward? Go behind the flag. It's all right. You're allowed to go behind the flag if you feel it. It's all right. It's good. It helps us with the views. You've changed your mind. We've got somebody changing their mind, which is great. Why did you change your mind, and why do you think the UK would be better going forward?
I will be honest, I'm dyslexic. I have a reading age of 11-year-old. I've only ever been to integrated schools my entire life, and I have an incredible experience in our education system. I think the issue is how many different sections we have in our own education system just here.
I've actually lived in 5 different countries across the world, and I've gone through a range of different education systems. From my own experience, I've only spent a year in Northern Ireland under this education, and honestly it's been the best education I've gotten across the world.
So we've got probably about 3 times the number of people over with the Irish flag, right? Go ahead, whoever wants to speak, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we specialise far too soon with A-levels. I think it really restricts young people by having them choose A-levels that will determine their career path at the age of 15/16. I think it works far better in the south, where you've got 6 subjects, so you can still specialise a bit more if some things don't work out for you, but you do have more breadth, and it means that young people aren't being forced to specialise too early and risk their future career prospects.
But would the subject of personal mathematics make a difference to how people would vote? Cost of living. Better for you in terms of cost of living, because I know lots of you are worried about what you spend in the supermarkets, what it takes to heat your home. What is better for a point of view of a cost of living? Do you think it's being part of the United Kingdom or part of United Ireland? Now, looking at this one, the issue of a cost of living is where the United Kingdom seems to have a genuine advantage. The people seem to think that the cost of living is lower as being part of the United Kingdom. Why do you think that?
I've been to Dublin. I've seen the price of stuff. My mum used to live in Dublin. I know it's a lot more expensive for travel, for just even milk, bread. I just know the cost of living is more expensive.
But like Dublin is not how it is across the whole island either, and I guess a part of it is the EU. Ireland is a part of the EU, and salaries are higher in the south and all the rest of that, whereby UK is not. And cost of living is bad now, but who knows what it's going to be in 10 years' time. The effects of Brexit and tariffs and everything else. You don't know. At least you have the security of the EU.
A lot of talk going on at the moment about the issue of rights and human rights. Well, look at the faces even on that. There's people angry before I even start. For the issue of human rights and for the rights that you have, which do you think would be better, staying in the United Kingdom or being part of United Ireland? There's people who can't quite decide, but I'll tell you what, everybody's moving over towards United Ireland. About half the group have gone over to United Ireland, and nobody has gone over to the United Kingdom at this stage. Bryce, are you going across?
Before there was the European Convention on Human Rights, Britain did protect human rights pretty well, and Ireland protects human rights as well today. So I don't think this is a burning issue in a border poll.
A lot of hands up already, people wanting to say why they think rights would be better protected in a United Ireland. Tell me.
Especially in the United Kingdom and England at the minute, how they're treating protesters, whether it's anti-immigration or pro-Palestine, you are being arrested for anything, and I think that's wrong. We need to protect our right to protest.
The British government sees rights as something that you bequeath, that you give. I'm born as a right bearer. I don't earn rights. I don't welcome them. And the sooner that we twist this, it seems to me in Ireland, the inherent birthright seems to be most important, whereas in Britain it seems we've got to earn the rights. Just think of LGBT, for example.
There was someone who was elected in Reform, and one of the first things that they do as soon as they got into office was they took down a pride flag. As someone who does identify within that community, I think that if Reform do get into Parliament, they do end up taking over the country. My rights are going to be at stake, and my whole community's rights are going to be at stake.
The final question is the one that I'm going to ask you. If you were voting for United Kingdom or United Ireland, if you were faced with a border poll in the next 10 or 20 years, how would you vote?
I don't think we can answer that question at the moment because we need to know the facts, the truths about what the Constitution, all the questions you asked earlier, how would they be dealt with?
People need a comprehensive
plan presented to them that they can then answer.
We can't have another Brexit situation where we're voting on shock statements.
And the terror that I have, or the real fear that I have, is that for the side that it doesn't go in their favour, that we have all the preconditions ready for another conflict.
Yeah.
It is a totally nuanced question. It is not a yes or no. It isn't a binary solution. We need to know what the question is in order to make
it will be a binary question if a border poll is held.
And if a border poll is held, as I've said before, we are the people that will make that decision, because 1/3 of the population will vote one way no matter what the argument is, and 1/3 of the population will vote the other way no matter what the arguments are. So it needs to be made very, very clear what we're voting for.
And that discussion places this group right at the centre of any upcoming debate about a border poll.